October 8, 2019. Joe here at Simple Life Show. SimpleLifeRemedy.org is the website. Appreciate everybody for liking, subscribing, sharing, doing all that good social media stuff, because that does help us out. It's hard to get actually in the algorithms for YouTube to get our message out there. So we do, appreciate the subscribers, any kind of sharing that you can do, because that does help out. Now, if you are not already aware that we are living in Circus Town, and it's its population of nothing but clowns at this point, because this is no longer any type of thing that can really be taken seriously anymore, especially when it comes to the swamp in Washington. They are really the whole referendum on the 2016 election has gotten completely out of hand. Everyone has simply lost their credibility at this point. And it's no longer just a witch hunt, as it is just a whole bunch of clowns just running around in circles, just trying to see if any type of spaghetti can actually stick on the wall. I can't even talk straight half the time, because I really want to, honestly, I really want to talk about stuff that's really more important than all this stuff. And I know that a lot of people are really tired of listening to this kind of stuff, because we just want to get on to whatever it is that this country needs to do to progress forward. As far as its place in the world, our country in general, I think a lot of people, even those on the left, are getting really tired of this. Now, you of course, you can't really tell a lot of the times, because a lot of the vitriol and a lot of the hatred that's coming from the left and even from the right as well is just I believe it is just a symptom of a larger problem. And that larger problem is that we are living under the big tent. And the big tent is comprised primarily of this discontentment with the world in general, with the 2016 election, with our leaders and the swamp, and I think a lot of people are tired of it. But it is manifested in this way of just simply being, a type of just circus event at this point. There's no rhyme or reason really to what's going on, but people are buying into it. They're still buying into it. They're still eating it up. And as long as they eat it up, the longer this dog and pony show will continue going on. And that's really the only thing I can really say about it. It has turned into a clown show. Now, the news today is not much different. Okay, let me actually get that on the bigger screen here. So this news is a little bit different. If you don't know what's really going on, I'll just break down this down to you as best as I can, because it's not really complicated. Of course, Adam Schiff is running the show, I guess, if you want to call him that. Now, this Sondland today, he is a ambassador to the EU, European Union. And he was supposed to testify today in Congress. Volker actually testified a few days ago. Volker is a special envoy to the Ukraine, and he was asked a lot of questions about the text messages and everything that was going on. What it really is that Congress and the committee, as it were, of course, there's a whole bunch of Democrats and Republicans, but some of the Republicans weren't even allowed to be in there behind closed doors. Now, we don't really know everything that was actually said during these meetings to Volker. But we can say from a lot of the people that were coming out of the meeting, how they saw this meeting as something that really didn't forward any kind of the agenda that the Democrats were trying to do, in trying to pin something on the president as far as some sort of quid pro quo for the Ukrainians. We do have a video here of something that there was a couple videos actually after the Volker meeting, because that's what they were doing. They were just trying to evoke something that wasn't really there from a lot of these text messages. There was a lot of text messages between a whole bunch of foreign officials and ambassadors, and especially Sondland and this other guy Volker. And that happened shortly, actually before and after the conversation. So they were really talking about this stuff. Now, the entire text and the entire transcript was not even released, and that's what was really the problem here when it came to Volker and all of the stuff that actually, all the text messages and all the information. They were basically cherry picking different text without any context, and we'll actually get into that and why the State Department actually stopped this whole process from Sondland going, because Sondland actually wanted it to go, and he wasn't actually going to put Trump under the bus. He was actually one of the few actually not one of the few, but Sondland and Volker were the two that I know of that were trying to put this whole thing to rest, that there was some sort of quid pro quo between the president and the both president of the U.S. and Ukraine. So we'll look at that clip here.
Congressman from New York, Lee Zeldin. He's a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, which means, Congressman, you were in that room yesterday. What was your biggest takeaway?
Well, first, I didn't know Ambassador Volker before yesterday. I knew who he was, but I had not met him before. He came across as candid, genuine. He was very well versed on Ukraine and years and really decades of background here. He knew all of the players, the pronunciations of their names, even the spelling. So I thought he was a great witness. He answered all questions from the Republicans and the Democrats. And during that, I mean, he basically put a dagger straight to the heart of Schiff's fairy tale impeachment story here. With regards to the quid pro quo, as you just played from that piece from Mark Meadows, he heard what I did as well, and basically just blew up that narrative with every answer he gave.
How so specifically?
Okay, so where to start? So I'll give you one example. So first off, you know, the allegation that Ukraine would be providing some type of assistance with regards to an investigation in return for security aid. They had no idea that there was even a hold on security aid at the time of that call. As a matter of fact, there was a lot of interaction with Kurt Volker that took place in the weeks to follow the July 25th phone call between the two presidents.
So sorry,
and Ukraine wasn't bringing it up.
Who's they? When you said they had no idea.
So Ambassador Volker was in pretty regular contact with the Ukraine government. He has relationships with aides to President Zelensky. He actually met with President Zelensky right after the July 25th phone call. In the readouts that he received after the July 25th phone call from not just the United States government, but also from the Ukraine government, Ukraine had no idea that there was any type of a hold on security assistance. It wasn't brought up. There was no concern about a quid pro quo in any way, shape, or form.
Well, they knew that they didn't have those funds. They knew they didn't have those funds yet, though, Congressman, correct?
They raised no concern whatsoever that there was no belief, there was nothing expressed that funds were not going to be received. As a matter of fact, they're very grateful.
I want to go ahead and just stop that there because they kind of just go on and on about this. Now, I really just wanted to kind of just drive home a point here when it comes to this whole argument that Schiff keeps bringing up, and it really has to evolve with who knew what when. And was there any quid pro quo when it comes to this? Now, this whole thing is just getting absolutely ridiculous, okay? All you have to do is just look at the transcript, and you can see there wasn't any force or any kind of manipulation or any kind of ask on the part of the president for something in relation to what they're trying to accuse him of. This just keeps going on, and it's what I said before. No matter what type of piece of spaghetti that sticks on the wall, they're going to focus on that, and they're going to focus on anything that has resemblance of sticking on the wall, because they want to litigate this all the way through November 2020. No matter what, and you're going to have more people come up, and you're going to have more people say this and that. I mean, and we don't even know who the whistleblower is at this point. We haven't heard from the whistleblower. This is absolutely ridiculous. Jim Jordan's is another outspoken Republican about this, and this is what he had to say about the Volker testimony, not this recent one, but the Volker testimony.
I will just say this: we've first of all, Ambassador Volker, unbelievably knowledgeable about what was going on in Ukraine, just a true professional in our diplomatic corps. But not one thing he has said comports with any of the Democrats' impeachment narrative. Not one thing. But I will tell you this, the process Mr. Schiff has set up, Mr. Schiff was going to try to limit members from even asking questions when we started today's interview. The fact that he won't let agency counsel, State Department counsel participate, I've participated in, many of us have, Mark and I with the Oversight Committee, have participated in countless number of transcribed interviews. We have never, ever had an occasion where agency counsel was not allowed to participate, where there were limitations put on our staff who could be there to assist in the interview, and we've never seen a chairman suggest that members aren't allowed to ask questions. So if this is how Mr. Schiff is going to conduct these type of interviews in the future, that's a concern as well.
So there you go. I mean, that's what Jim Jordan had to say about that, and I left it there at the last point, the last thing that he said, where if this is the way Schiff is going to conduct these interviews, then that is why we're seeing what we're seeing right now. That is why. Let me see. That's just some information there. But, of course, this is why this is happening right now. State withholding Sondland text messages on personal device. Of course, that is what the mainstream media wants to have you believe. Even some of the mainstream media over at NBC wants to kind of just, I don't know what this is all about. Volker provided evidence. Giuliani ran a shadow shakedown in Ukraine, Democrat says. Of course, this is all hearsay. This is really not anything. I think this is just like a complete cover for what the real story is. The real story is that there was no quid pro quo on this. And Volker and Soldano actually said this in their text. If you read this here from the New York Post, this was from the 4th. That was right after Volker testified. Of course, they still had some of these texts. September 9th, and of course, this is the text that everyone's freaking out about. It says, I think it's crazy to withhold security assistance for help with the political campaign, according to a trove of communications released late Thursday by 3 Democratic leaders of the House impeachment inquiry. The text, which condemns a perceived cash for political quid pro quo, was sent by U.S. Charge d'Affaires William Bill Taylor to Gordon Sondland. That's kind of what they wanted to talk about. Of course, that is one text. They did not put it in context, though. Who 4 hours later pushed back with a firm, precisely worded response. Bill, I believe you were incorrect about President Trump's intentions. Sondland, a Republican megadonor, responds. The president has been crystal clear about no quid pro quo of any kind, Sondland states. The president is trying to evaluate whether Ukraine is truly going to adopt a transparency and reforms that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky promised during his campaign. He adds, before asking that the conversation be taken offline, I suggest we stop the back and forth text. Of course, a lot of this has to do with the fact that this here among the communications is a text Volker sent to a Zelensky aide, Yermak, on the morning of July 25th, just before the actual call with the Ukrainian president. The text read, heard from the White House, assuming President Zelensky there convinces Trump he will investigate, get to the bottom of what happened in 2016. We will nail down date for visit to Washington. Of course, he's referring to the ongoing investigation by the prosecutor, the main prosecutor, that got fired, who was under oath and also put a sworn testimony on why he got fired, and the whole involvement of the Bidens and all that kind of stuff, and Burisma. This thing goes way back, and it all ties into the 2016 election and how they were trying to look up dirt through the Ukrainians on Paul Manafort to get at the heart of the Trump campaign. It was all part of a smear campaign by the Clinton camp and the DNC, all involved, of course, with the Ukrainian officials to look up any kind of dirt on the campaign. And this is really what Trump was talking about the whole time, that the deeper that you dig into all this, the more you're really going to find, and the more you're not going to like it. And the clown show is going to continue going on and on until we do find this out. Now, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think that the Democrats in Congress, that's why they're trying to play this magician act where they're not putting a lot of stuff in context. They're cherry picking a lot of this stuff and trying to nail whatever kind of jello they can to the wall. Of course, nothing is sticking at this point. And my only fear is that the more this doesn't stick, the more that they will actually continue going forward and up their ante, in other words, and go all in on this whole impeachment thing. And I think that a lot of the people that are on the left are actually going to get even more tired of this, and we're probably going to see, hopefully not, but my biggest fear is that you'll see radicalization on the left to the point where they actually take matters into their own hands. I hope that does not happen, because that would cause a irreparable rift in this country, more than we see actually right now. And I personally believe that it's something is probably bad going to happen over the next few months to the next year coming up to the election. I think this whole circus is getting out of control, and there's no constraints on this. It's a no holds barred type of scenario. Adam Schiff is probably the most unreliable person to be running the circus as it is, which makes it even more dangerous. And this is something that kind of breaks that down as well.
The guy has lit his credibility on fire. In the middle of the road, he has lit it on fire and stood there, and we all watched it burn. The only people that think that Adam Schiff is a credible human being are rabid partisans that have Trump derangement syndrome and want to see this president destroyed.
I believe he lied in front of the House committee that he chairs in an opening statement, said that Trump had said some of the things that he never said, and then when he got caught lying, said he was just parody. It was a joke. He was making a joke about it. I mean, he is a joke.
He had the transcript in front of him, Eric. He had the transcript right in front of him, and he had to make up this weird Orange Man bad fantasy fiction to fit into his dark carnival of what's going on in this country, and it doesn't reflect real Americans. America.
We had on this show on Tuesday, we had a guy who was a former National Security Council chief of staff. He was also a CIA analyst and also a staffer at the Senate Intel Committee, and who said Schiff knew about this whistleblower. In fact, Schiff helped the whistleblower in August. Yet Schiff says if it weren't for the IG, he would have never known about the whistleblower. Meanwhile, we have him tied to the whistleblower months ago. And in fact, New York Times outed Schiff too.
Yes. So the Federalist came out with a piece yesterday saying that it is illegal to go to Congress first. It makes you unable to live under the Whistleblower Protection Act. And so you are not granted the benefits of that act. And therefore, you are potentially up for federal prosecution. This whistleblower, if they didn't actually watch their steps, and if it is proven that they acted in a partisan way, went to Congress first before the IG, then they may be facing federal jail time.
How about the people who gave the information to the whistleblower? Remember, it's hearsay, right? So you can't prosecute the whistleblower, you can't use it as evidence, but you can use the actual person who delivered the information to the whistleblower. They broke the law. I mean, this is
correct.
You can't leak a presidential conversation that he has with another world leader to people because you feel you're upset. You be the whistleblower. If you're going to leak it, well, go the proper route. Get an attorney, go to the IG, and declare yourself a whistleblower.
I will just say this: we've
the guy has lit.
Sorry about that. That was a little bit of a technical difficulty there. Yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it right now. I really want you to understand that what this whistleblower did was illegal. He went to Congress first. He went to Adam Schiff first. And, of course, Adam Schiff did not tell anybody about this for a period of time. We don't even know how long that was. It could have been a month. I don't know. This all happened in August, and now we are in October now. So when did actually Schiff know about this? How long did he sit on it? That's just one question. The other question is why did this whistleblower go to Congress first? Why did he go to Schiff first instead of the IG? Because the whole Whistleblower Protection Act is under the IG. It is not under Congress. He has to go through the IG first, the Inspector General. If you don't know what IG means, but that this whole thing is just unraveling. That is why we don't know who this whistleblower is, because he's being protected. That's why we haven't heard from him yet, because it's all hearsay and nothing that he says is actually admissible. It is just something to keep the ball rolling. Please understand what's going on here. It's the same thing that what happened, with the Supreme Court nominee Kavanaugh. It doesn't really matter. Okay, you can have a whole bunch of people come forward and say a whole bunch of stuff, and we can end up in court forever, and we can end up in committees forever. We can destroy lives forever. And trust me, many people are going to be going down about this. I think that they already should have gone down. And I don't care who it is, on which side they're on. We need to clean house. And that is the only way that we can go forward as a country, is to clean house and get rid of all these people that are causing all this corruption. All this corruption that is clogging the arteries of this country, that needs to be taken down. And I don't care who it is, but my personal sentiment, and from my own research and what I've been talking about, the vast majority, 80% plus, comes from the liberal left, the Democrat and the DNC, the Hillary camp, the Obama camp, and all of this. They have their hands in the Biden camp. They all have their hands in all this stuff. And they are so afraid that all of this stuff's going to get leaked. They have to play magician at all times. They have to distract the public at all times. They have to keep you distracted. All this information's out there. All you have to do is just read about it. Okay? That is what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to get across to you. So if you've learned anything, if you actually found anything of any value, please subscribe. This is Joe with Simple Life Show, simpleliferemedy.org. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.